Hello, Aaron. Hernandez has direct and indirect ties to names on Covington Street involved with the intelligence community. Former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, also involved with people that work with corrections officers in the Britain Superior Court, judges and prosecutors, and victims advocates involved with overt criminal enterprises, private ones, strippers that live on Covington Street next to Central Connecticut State University involved with the intelligence community. They might be intelligence, but they have roles with news attached to fake conversations with themselves and about the World Trade Center while I caught them forcing a child abuser leader of kids with ones involved from Weathersfield into branch offices and on my street, intelligence families on all sides of Central Connecticut State University. A Gill family also has intelligence family that works with the intelligence at Central Connecticut State University. And they have collusions with people next to Trinity College with the same ones there who have been putting falsified police reports roles on a mass scale in America. They put charges with the name with the domestic. Then they change and fake what happened and won't let anyone speak. They're changing and faking all sides. They're hiding on a mass scale. They make people raise their voices because especially at apartments. Like in this city, this is distinctly from in the suburbs, but it's non-distinctly too. That's why, but no one ever caught it. That's why we never addressed it. Why and how this fake integrity of law voices, while tactically delusions regarding American history with black people's white spies too. There's a bunch of confessions tied to it. To Bucky Jones, I don't know him. New Britain campuses, child campuses, fire campuses. There are some more real estate companies too. These are people into branch forging and switching names. There's a prosecutor named Salisbury. There's one name, apparently a prosecutor named Brian Silver. He's involved with New Britain Superior Court and Connecticut's District Court. Involved also with former director of the FBI in his defendant capacities with his lawyer, Robert Chevary, and with their co-defendants, Thaddeus Grabowski, Dominic Lapriata, and John LeConche. John LeConche's daughter is also involved with predicate acts between the campuses I went and ones that were at that are involved with predicate acts at Central Connecticut State University. So on a mass scale, they have people changing and faking why people get arrested and what that means, domestic. And they're faking and changing everything that happens. They have roles with people with knives, guns, bug spray. That's because they're little fakes with the courts. A whole bunch of people like tied to a Chris Walters brought up the name Bobby, like men and women that use the name Bobby. There's a Bobby Jean who's a stripper. I don't know if you guys know her. Her neighbors, and she has also a boyfriend who was a bunch of boyfriends involved, and a boyfriend who I didn't meet them. No, she kept telling me, no, I don't want to meet him. I don't know the leasing agent's son's name. That's reportedly one of her boyfriends. That one that owns an apartment on Covington Street, and he should not have sold that apartment without telling people what he was involved with there. Also with his the people that work for them there, and the houses next to it. They have roles with some untimely deaths too, with people on my street that make confessions tied to that. These are also people off the Weathersfield corrections offices and off the Weathersfield judicial branch offices. Also, a Rick Cianfaglione has a Brian Silver with New Britain Superior Court, and they have a Leahy family at Hartford Hospital. A bunch of people at Hartford Hospital with their whole families with the mental health care side. They're putting fake conversations with people in databases, whole fake transcripts. They're forging other doctors' names. These are also people with criminal enterprises next to that hospital through time, even if that's intelligence people unmarked. They're recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed, involved with all kinds of predicate acts with falsified police reports. Some Mendez police with the Weathersfield Police Department attached me to fake conversations with themselves and with others. They have more with a Jay Salvatore. I never had a conversation with my life verbally. He's involved with a whole bunch of people too, with the Marines on my street and an officer who was killed in the car with another officer, and he was apparently hit on the side of it. And it was a girl who made a confession about that years before that as a spotter involved with a bunch of officers intercities. Chris White, also reportedly involved with an officer shooting. He's involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders against me. with people, educators tied to it, and people tied to a Ray Reynolds and Eric Jensen with some state police and Whiting Forensics. Also with Facebook. Facebook has a Joshua Julian on the Facebook page of the principal sex offender, where they forced that and changed and faked what's actually digitally recorded. And they faked and changed. They didn't let me speak over the phone when I caught them with what brought that up to me. Not just the Joshua Julian on their campus. Before I went on the Facebook page of their campus, I had other things I already knew about and recorded, and it was confessed to me. And that's recorded too. A Robert Rodriguez from other areas of Wethersfield, he was making confessions to me on my town. I didn't respond to him because I knew he was trying to play their intelligence families, trying to put him with fake ties, fake natures of ties to me. There's intelligence families involved with the Wethersfield police confessions. They're refusing to identify themselves so they can keep putting more fake things in databases to cover up how they've been doing that through time. On a mass scale, people are bringing things before courts as collusions with the crime scenes. All natures of investigations, investigators are used and have been used remotely, criminally, foreign influence. So if you guys care about America, these are people involved with the World Trade Center attack, before the attack with the former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin. And I didn't even know the people on Covington Street after that. But they sought me out before and after I lived there to record, confess, demonstrate, confirm. They have a Rick Cianfaglione involved with them. And next to, and a whole bunch of people tied to them. Paul Zano sought me out. I never had a conversation with him on the campus there. They must have taken a picture of me with him there. He did that at Trinity College too. Sought me out all by himself one time. And he has cousins involved with Trinity College, with my neighbors, and with the intelligence next to them, who are also tied to the ones next, and as the ones next to the Central Connecticut State University, involved with identity theft, fraud, slanders, lying behind my back to what's his name, Johnny Duke, who lived on Trinity, used to live on what is it called? Zion Street, right next to Trinity College. And in other words, a whole bunch of people tied to this Joe Aiello too. Joe Aiello was on Facebook with some retired mayors who have been putting fake things in databases, fake ties, and fake natures ties between kids, mass medical corruption, and their delusions rot black peoples. Get them on paper, one name and sequence. New Britain campuses, do what's right for Central Connecticut State University and the Tabucky Jones, because there's more people with the football in Wethersfield that brought his name up years ago too. Covington Street has a bunch of people on off the state corrections office and judicial branch offices in Wethersfield. There are proofs that they have. It might, that some of those people that were living in the apartment have family members that work with the prisons in Sandy Hook. Sandy Hook has an O'Brien family also on my street. They don't even live here anymore, I don't think. But they have roles with Sandy Hook campuses, also with sexual and medical offenders, where the courts have roles forcing such things. And they have some foreign and domestic medical with a prison there, involved with their prisoners before they were caught, and people next to the body dumping spots. There's a serial killer, and there's people next to the body dumping spot, increasingly involved with people from other areas who planted evidence on my street when I was a kid. And they have time collusions with the ones with the Wethersfield police, forging and switching names, refusing to give me writing since I was a kid. They put charges, and they put charges with no writing, and they put confessions tied to it, where they switch officers' names, and God knows what they put in databases. They hid this from Judge Napolitano, too, with the Facebook pages of Fox Connecticut News and WFSB involved with more sexual and medical offenders of kids and relative delusions. They have neighbors of people that work for Fox Connecticut News involved, too, and their roles with nurses and the medical community and the security, too, involved. All lawyers, all kinds of. UConn has roles with an Institute of Living founded on the campus of Hartford Hospital in 1822, with slavery still entrenched northern colonies, southern colonies. There were still delusions wrought and replacing what our founders declassified for us to have understood. You guys need to get onto paper. And James Madison's plan is what forced the Civil War. That's why and how the North and the South had rules with slavery was still forced entrenched, because there were internationally monitored conversations. There were time collusions with overt criminal enterprises private ones, and terrorists. When did that stop being used by the breaching method to screen itself? Get them on paper, one name and sequence, please. Follow mandated law for WFSB. A whole bunch of people tied to Gail King are also involved with this. And foreign and domestic military, and people involved with the Saudi attackers. Central Connecticut State University has roles with that too. All kinds of sick people with the courts too. You get them on paper, one name and sequence. I'll show you.